Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today. I am fresh leaving Costco after a $300 haul. Basically, today we threw a lot of snacks, a lot of easy lunches, a lot of easy dinners with the kids going back to school. This is normally one of the biggest hauls that we do each and every year, just trying out new things, seeing what they like, seeing what's a big hit, and what we keep buying. But in the wrestling world, we're going to be coming up on AEW's All In, coming up the last week of August. I say that not being 100% sure, because I'll tell you the truth, I get confused over which one is All In, which one is All Out. All In was their first pay-per-view, and then they didn't own the pay-per-view name. So the next year when it came up, they came up with All Out. I think All Out is now in Chicago the first weekend of September, and they're going overseas for the big one. I think that's the one that they call All In. And then next year, the word just came out that thing's going to be in Texas. I'm really hoping that Chicago still is like one of the main bases for AEW, because that is the home of Mr. Pico, who lets me stay at his house when we go to the shows. So as long as Hotel Pico is open, we're all good. But this match right here, Bryan Danielson versus Swerve, is really in my head. I don't make a lot of videos about AEW because I can honestly tell you that I don't follow it as closely as I do WWE. I like to watch it. There was a while when I really felt like the pay-per-views were all must order, must buy, because I really felt like they gave you value, and there was only 4 of them a year. I don't know how many of them they're up to at this point, but remember, like last month, I was like all in on AEW with them having this HBO Max deal, and I don't even know what the hell's going on with that. I guess just the people overseas get the AEW catalog. I'm just thinking about this right now. That's why my voice went so high-pitched. And, you know, word was for a day that we were going to get the pay-per-views and this, that, and the other, and they had signed some lucrative deal to help out HBO Max, and they were like a partnership, and where the hell is that? Because I'll tell you this much, I am really excited for this match. I don't know if this is like a must-order pay-per-view for me, because sometimes they try to just book each wrestler on one of the 2 shows, so they're not overbooked weekend to weekend. Having pay-per-views on back-to-back weekends is bizarre. I know they've done it before, but like, remember last year was really just the second show was just the main story, really was everybody still talking about what happened the weekend before with CM Punk and Jungle Boy Jack Perry. It kind of just gave everything such a like, I kind of feel, because I think everybody knew that the end of CM Punk in AEW was not yet, but it was coming. All right, we get back down to this, talking about this one, because I got sidetracked there. But they're saying that Bryan Danielson versus Swerve for the AEW Championship is going to be a career versus championship match. This storyline has been going on for a while, where Bryan Danielson has said that he is not going to sign a new contract. He has made a promise to his daughter that he is going to stop wrestling, guessing that he is going to be home more. I'm going to call him Daniel Bryan, because that's just how I learned who he was, and it's hard for me to remember to say Bryan Danielson each and every time. But it's hard for me to look in that man's eyes and think that he is playing a story or lying to us or anything like that. But I really just don't believe this. This is the same man who basically has said that he wants to be wrestling until he's 100 years old. Even if it is not on a main stage, it's going to be in some armory somewhere with 20 people in the crowd. This is the art that he loves, and he's going to do it for as long as he honestly can. I think that honestly he deserves to have a smaller schedule if he wants to have a smaller schedule. But this is the guy who was told that he would never wrestle again, and his career was over in WWE, and kept going to doctor after doctor and fighting what WWE was saying that he was done, to the point where they let him wrestle. And I think it was WrestleMania 34 when he made his return, tagging with Shane McMahon against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and wondering if it was like a one-off deal or if he was just full-on returning. And then he comes on and he actually becomes WWE champion again, even though it was in a heel role. And I think people remember it, but it just wasn't as big as it was when he won the big one at WrestleMania 30. He had the plastic recyclable belt, and he was walking around talking about how much better he was than everybody else. And if the guy wants to be a heel, let him be a heel. It is what it is. But I think everybody loved him when he was Daniel Bryan. But we've even heard from Brie that she has an itch to come back and wrestle someday, and it doesn't really make sense if she wants to go out and wrestle for someone somewhere, and he's gonna be at home with the kids, and she gets to go out and live on the rest of her career. Part of me really wonders if maybe his career in AEW is going to be coming to an end. And maybe he wants to see what would happen if he went back to WWE. I mean, honestly, if Brie wants to come back to wrestle, her in her current state where WWE owns the Bella name, if, Bryan and Brie were back in the WWE graces, I guess it would be kind of confusing because they would have to rebrand the Nikki and Brie podcast back to them being able to be called the Bellas. I don't really know what they talk about on their show. I doubt they're talking about wrestling. I've seen a few clips that pop up on my thing. I think that people think it's wrestling related, so it's in my algorithm, and they're talking about Love Island and reality dating shows and things like that, and I just don't, it's not for me. But Swerve, I think, is a really good champion, and I don't think anybody would think anything less of him if his reign came to an end. I really thought that he was going to be a big deal in WWE, and when they crunched the numbers, I mean, with that one time, and he had released in 2020 or maybe 2021, and they released him, I don't know what they were doing. I think that was the same cuts they made where they released Johnny Gargano and other names that was I don't know who's running the ship right now. But I think they really thought that if they let him, stay home for a while, that he would want to come back. And he took the AEW deal, and they made a star out of him big time. The matches he's had with Hangman Page and all. But honestly, when it comes down to it, this one kind of makes me think that I want to order this pay-per-view because of the fact it could go either way. Does he just win the championship and this, storyline they came up with him with his contract not wanting to sign a new deal? Does it just fade away and he just, stays with the Combat Club for the rest of his life and just keep going? Or maybe he actually leaves AEW on a high note, having a main event, really big match, and then he goes on to maybe go back to WWE. I think for the people that, like AEW, it's for them. But some people might look at WWE as the real major leagues. And maybe with so much name power, maybe they could really come up with a deal where Bryan Danielson only has to wrestle 4 times a year, 3 times a year. And he's just kind of in and out and around. And he's kind of I don't want to say a Brock Lesnar, because Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar. Nobody else is going to be able to come in and out like that. But maybe it's something like that where they just find a spot, bring him in, use him, and then it goes back to life as normal.